You got a smile that makes the sun rise. You make it shine. But I can see that you don't realize, and that's what made me fall in love. 'Cause you got style, the way your body makes my heart beat sound. It's amazing all the time. You are the only thing I need in life. Oh, I want you. Can't you see? I want you. I believe, 'cause I want you. Here with me, I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go crazy for love. I look at you, I know it's alright. You read my mind, but I can see that you don't realize, and that's what made me fall in love. 'Cause you got style, the way your body makes my heart beat sound. It's amazing all the time. You are the only thing I need in life. Oh, I want you. Can't you see? I want you. I believe, 'cause I want you. Here with me, I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go crazy for love. I don't need another love. Yeah. We do this every day. We do this love for life. You got a smile that makes the sun rise. You make it shine. But I can see that you don't realize, and that's what made me fall in love.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of our Legacy Challenge. We are here with our family, and as you can see, Tessia is just getting a little bit of work done on the computer. All of our kids are now teenagers and they will be heading into high school, and we are going to be seeing how their lives are going to be changing now that they are all older. They're all going to be trying to build relationships and finding people to start their lives with so that they can start moving on and having their own lives and moving out and things of that nature. Those kind of things are going to start happening. We are following the life of Adriel because he is our heir, and he is in a relationship with Evie, and he has a whim currently right now that he is wanting to get engaged to her, I believe, but we'll just have to see how that goes. This is Everett. He is the second person in the family right now to be awake. I'm just going to go ahead and let him come in here and get a little bit to eat because he is starting to feel a little bit hungry this morning. So while Tessia is in there working on the computer, Everett's just going to get himself a bite to eat, and then maybe we'll have Tessia come in and just have a little bit of a chat with her brother, since they are the only two that are awake so far this morning. And then we will go ahead and get everyone up slowly and let them work on the things that they need to work on for the day. It is, I believe, a holiday today. I don't think they have the day off from school, but it is baking therapy day, and so I do think that Adriel will probably work on some of his baking skills. As we know, him being the heir, he does try to work on skills so that he can obviously better himself and have a bit of a well-rounded life. So Adriel is up. He is just grabbing himself a bite to eat as well. Slowly but surely, everyone in the family is starting to rise. They do have school today, so they're all getting up and taking care of their needs. I'm just going to queue up for them to get themselves some breakfast before school here. And as you can see, all of them are just having a little bit of a conversation about while they eat, and they are talking about the day. We do have the option, obviously, to follow all of the teenagers to high school, but I'm probably just going to follow Adriel because, as we know, he is our main character in the story here, and instead of trying to focus on all 5 of the teenagers, I'm just going to focus on Adriel for this episode. Maybe in the next episode we will focus on everyone and try building up some of their relationships, but for now we're just going to focus on him and see how that goes. So I am just going to go ahead and let them all go ahead and get themselves fed up here. And then I am going to work on some baking therapy here for Adriel. And he does need to do a little bit of airing some grievances, which it looks like he is currently working on now. And then he will need to get in there and do some baking. So he is just currently checking the mail, and then we'll get him into the kitchen and he can do a little bit of baking. So I'm going to have him go in and just bake something up here. Maybe he can do like an apple pie, and that will be good for the family. Obviously, I don't like that when they have a whole lot of sweets, because then, you know, it's just kind of not healthy for them. But it is baking day, and so with baking day, they do have to bake some things, and so sweets it is. So we'll have him whip up something here, and obviously, I think that their mom will want to obviously go ahead and she will want to bake as well. Mainly because she enjoys cooking, and so I think that she would want to bake as well. So we'll just have to see how that goes for her. So I think Haley will probably want to do that as well. So we'll just have to see how it goes, and if that is something that she wants to do, then we'll maybe get her doing that as well. But Adriel's just going to go ahead and finish this meal up while everyone gets their needs taken care of. We'll make sure they have all gone to the washroom or showered or done whatever they need to do, and they will get themselves ready for school, because they will have school coming up shortly. It does look like Mitchell needs to go ahead and grab himself a bite to eat, so I'm just going to queue up for him to go ahead and get himself a little bit of leftovers here, and Mom's going to go ahead and just do some cleaning. So we absolutely love that. Everyone in the family is really close, it seems, and so we absolutely love that everyone is, you know, such a close-knit family, and they get along so well. I think that, you know, obviously the quads get along super great, but that's because they're quads. But I think everyone in this family is pretty close, and they have all, you know, grown up together, and they have really bonded over the years, and they just really depend on one another, and they're really supportive of each other. And I think that you can see that in how they interact with each other, and how they really lean on each other for what they need, as far as, you know, support and development of each other's skills and character and things like that. So they are all going to be going into their school for the day, and I think everyone is excited about that. They are feeling like they're going to make really good strides with that. Like I said, we won't be following all of them, so we won't be seeing kind of their day in and day out. But I am hoping that everyone's going to have a really good day at school. So it is time for them to go ahead and head to school. I'm just going to select that we're going to be following Adriel here. We won't be following Everett, Isaiah, Julian, or Tessia. We're going to let them kind of go off onto school on their own. And we're just going to select that we're going to follow Adriel. So let's go ahead and head off to school with him. All right, so we have arrived here at the Copperdale High School, and as you can see, Adriel is just getting a little bit of free time this morning before he has to go into his first class. So I am going to go ahead and let him just spend a little bit of time getting to know some of the students here and socializing a little bit. He is going to go ahead and chat with this girl here. It does look like she is tossing a football with this other student, but maybe we can get them to chat for a little bit. It doesn't look like they actually, maybe they do know each other, but I think I want them to go ahead and get to know each other a little bit better. So I am just going to have them chat a little bit more, and I'm going to have them discuss some interest and carry on a little bit, and maybe he can even do a little bit of monkeying around with her so that they can build up a little bit more of some of their friendship here. So they are just monkeying around, and he is trying to, you know, build up on their friendship, build up on their relationship a little bit, which is fantastic. Obviously, he's trying to build friends. We have not been able to see Evie in school in quite some time. I don't know if we're going to see her here at school again today. I don't really know where she has been, but we haven't been able to see her in a while. So he has been trying to get to know some of the other girls in school, just to kind of see if there's any kind of budding relationship that could happen amongst any of the other girls, because he knows that, you know, he's young and maybe there might be someone else that he could potentially like, or he might want to potentially date. he does have, like I said, that whim that he wants to get engaged to Evie. And I mean, he really has strong feelings for Evie. He really is head over heels in love with her. It started out as just a crush, but he's really developed strong feelings for her. He does want to get engaged to her. And I mean, he's serious about her, but he also knows that he's young and maybe he should play the field a little bit and see what else is out there. Oh, he's given her a funny gift here. So he is really trying to build up on some friendship here, which is great. But I am going to need to send him on into his class here. So we're going to go ahead and send Adriel on into class. But he is definitely kind of just thinking about the fact that he needs to maybe play the field a little bit and meet some more people and potentially give himself some other options. Even though he necessarily, doesn't know if that's the right choice because he does have such strong feelings for Evie. I think part of him is pondering, the fact that he is young and maybe he shouldn't settle down with the first person he's fallen in love with, but he's just really not sure. And then he walks into his class and he sees that girl over there in the corner and he's like, who is that? So now his mind is piqued just a little bit. So he is thinking to himself while he's in class, he's like, oh my goodness, like I need to talk to her after class. So he's going to do his studies here a little bit, but he has every intention of going and talking to her after class and kind of getting to know her a little bit. So we're going to have him just focus here in class a little bit. And then after he is done with his class, I'm going to have him go over and introduce himself to that girl over there in the red sweater. And maybe he can get to know her a little bit because she kind of caught his attention. So we are going to let him get his academic skills going on here. And we are going to hope that he is able to make an impression on her, and we'll see how things kind of go with that. So it looks like, he's really enjoying class. He's feeling confident, but it looks like the teacher has called him up to the board. So he's going to go ahead and go up to the board, and he's going to solve the question that she's called him up to the board for. And he's feeling confident, so, why would he not? So he walks up to the whiteboard to answer the question, but he unfortunately doesn't do well with that, and he does get a performance loss of small there, which is not necessarily ideal. I think he maybe is a little bit distracted by the girl in class, and unfortunately he doesn't do well on the problem that he was given by the teacher, and he is probably feeling a little bit embarrassed by that, but he's just a little bit too distracted. He's going to go over and introduce himself now that class is over to this girl, because, that's really the only thing he has his mind on right now. They're going to kind of get to know each other a little bit. He's like, hi, my name is Adriel. Are you new here? And she's like, sort of. I've been here a couple of days. And he's like, oh, well, I haven't really seen you around. And she's like, well, no, I don't think we have any other classes together, but obviously we have this class together. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, well, I'm really glad to see you around. If you need any help, just let me know. I would be really, really glad to assist you. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, well, it is lunchtime. I do need to go ahead and head out and maybe grab myself a bite to eat. If you want any help, just please let me know. So we're going to go over and we're going to head on out. I'm going to have him order himself a little bit of lunch here. And I'm going to have him chat with that girl he was monkeying around with out front before he had his class. So they're just going to do a little bit more chatting. Where do you think you're going, sir? Please go upstairs and get yourself some lunch. He was like, I was going to go downstairs and work out. No, you're not. It's lunchtime. We're going to get yourself a little bit of lunch here. And you're going to go talk to the ladies a little bit more. And I think he also needs to do a little bit of studying for his exam. So if we have a little bit of time, we may get him doing that. But he's going to go ahead and order himself a bite to eat. Let's talk to the ladies here, and we will have him build a little bit of friendship. I'm just going to have him give some flowers to the girls and see if he can maybe, I'm not saying I want him necessarily building romance with them, but if there is an opportunity to try to build a little romance with them, he is going to at least give it a shot. I do want him to have some options. I don't know necessarily that I want him to completely settle down with Evie right now. I do think I want him to play the field a little bit. So he is going to go ahead and flirt with, I think her name's Marielle or Marcelia or something like that over here. And we are going to let him flirt with her a little bit. And, he thinks that, she's a swell girl. And he's like, she's new. Oh, he likes idealist Sims. Okay, you can like idealist Sims. That's perfectly fine. So she seems to be an idealist Sim, and he seems to like that. So that's wonderful. So he is just chatting with her a little bit. He's trying to get to know her. Obviously, she has caught his eye. She's caught his interest. The other girl obviously is just, friends with him, and so he gave her some flowers, and that just didn't really go over well. But he seems to be really getting on with this girl, and he's thinking to himself, maybe something could come of that. Wowee, this Sim is irresistible. Adriel has a major crush on Marielle. Okay, so maybe they could have some kind of potential there. I'm not saying that is a definite, but it's a potential. So he's like, I have a bit of a crush on her. It's a potential. I'm not saying that I definitely would go for it, but if the opportunity maybe arose, maybe he would. So he's gonna go ahead and head himself into class now. He is seriously feeling confident. I think he is feeling confident because obviously he is an excellent student. So he feels really great about his classes. But he's also feeling confident because he's just met this new girl. He feels like he's on top of the world and like he can really accomplish anything. He is feeling like maybe there could be some potential there for some kind of budding relationship. And Adriel's feeling like, maybe he doesn't have to just focus on just Evie, even though he does have really strong feelings for Evie, and even though he does really want to be with Evie, he's young, and maybe he should date. Maybe he should try and see what else is out there for him. And maybe Marielle is a perfect opportunity for him to be able to do that. So after class, he's going to talk with her a little bit more. He's going to try doing a little bit more flirting, finding out if she's single and available, and if maybe she might be a little bit interested in him. And he's going to see if he can maybe get a little bit of romance up with her. So we are going to go ahead and do that, and then we will probably head him on home once school's done. And then, obviously he hasn't seen Evie. She's not been coming to school. I'm not really sure what the deal is with that, but he'll probably call and check on Evie once he gets home so that he can see what's going on with her. And it looks like everyone's grades are up for the day, and it said that he had an excellent day at school today, which is fantastic. I know he did have that little bit of a performance loss in that first class, but it really didn't affect him as a whole overall. So he is just chatting with her a little bit. They are doing a little bit of flirting, and it did make them have a tiny little bit of romance pop up. So he's like, okay, maybe I have a chance with her. And, that kind of makes him feel a little bit flirty, a little bit like he has a bit of a shot, and he's feeling kind of bold. He wants to do a little bit more romantic things with her, so he's going to give her a little bit of an embrace. And she's like, I really appreciate you. I really do, but I have to get on home. I have a long journey back to the house. And he's like, okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to send Adriel on to the house, and I will see you once he goes on home. So we have arrived back at the house here. I'm just going to send Adriel in to go to the washroom. He's feeling super flirty right now, thinking about his day at school and about Marielle. But he does have Evie on his mind as well. Obviously he would. Like I said, he is in love with Evie. He does have the whim that he wants to get engaged to her. And he is a little bit concerned about the fact that she's not coming to school. He doesn't know why she's not coming to school. He's not really certain on what exactly has happened to keep her from coming to school. So he's going to go ahead and do his homework, and we are going to, after he's finished with that, have him maybe give Evie a little bit of a phone call and just ask her, like, what's going on? And he's going to find out kind of what her deal is and see if maybe she wants to come over and hang out for a little bit so that they can have a chat and he can see, like, where have you been? Why have you not been coming to school? And just kind of get some of the lowdown on kind of what's been going on with her, because he's starting to get a little bit concerned. So I'm going to go ahead and queue up for him to do his homework, and then he'll give Evie a little bit of a call. All of the other teens had a pretty rough day at school today. All of their grades are up, so they did well as far as their education goes, but they are all pretty shattered. Like, they've had quite a rough day, and so I'm having to get some of their needs up, make sure they're getting fed and their homework is getting done, and, they're going to the washroom and they're taking care of themselves because they're all in pretty rough shape. everyone's kind of tired, and like I think for them it was just a really, really rough day. You know, it's they've not been in high school for very long. I think it's probably like their first or second day in high school, and so they're just not used to the schedule, they're not used to the grind, and so it was just a little bit draining for them. And Adriel, of course, is adjusted. He's used to this, and so he's just like energized, and he's been confident, he's been flirty, he's been all of these things because he's well adjusted to high school. But his siblings, that is just not the case. They are like, this is out of control. So Adriel has completed his homework. He's just talking to his brother and his mom right now really quickly, and then I'm gonna have him go ahead and give Evie a little bit of a call, and they are going to go ahead and discuss where she's been. And it looks like he's asking her a little bit about college parties. I guess he had heard that she had been kind of going around and visiting parties, and he's like, are you going out to a party tonight or something? Like, I heard that you were. And she's like, I haven't heard anything about any college parties. And he's like, okay, well, do you maybe want to come over and visit? Because I'd really like for us to chat. Like, I'm kind of concerned. And she's like, yeah, I'll be right over. And he's like, okay, great. So Evie's going to come on round, and we're going to see her. And once she comes over, we'll obviously have a bit of a conversation with her to find out what's been going on with her and why she hasn't been coming to school. You know, he is a little concerned with the fact that she's just kind of completely disappeared from going to high school, and you know, he doesn't understand why she would just kind of stop getting an education. And he thought that an education was really important to her. Like, she was in AP classes, and now all of a sudden she's just not going to school anymore. So Evie has arrived. She's just out here playing hopscotch. We're going to go ahead and come on out here, and we're going to greet her, and he's going to give her a little bit of love here. And he's going to say, hi, honey, I'm so glad you've come over. I just wanted to know that you're okay. And she's like, I'm fine. And he's like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, I'm really okay, Adriel. And he's like, well, you haven't been going to school. And she's like, I have been going to school. And he's like, what does that mean? And she's like, my parents decided that I would be getting a better education if I were homeschooled. So I've been doing school from home. And he's like, seriously? And she's like, yeah. So they are just sharing a little bit of kisses here, it would seem. It's like, I've missed you. Oh, look at them. Rubbing noses together. That's so cute. And she's like, I've missed you too. And he's like, she's like, but I can't go to the school. I can't go to the public school. And he's like, why not? And she's like, my parents don't want me going to the public school. They want me homeschooled, so I'm homeschooling right now. They feel like I'm going to get a better education at homeschool. And he's like, but I love you so much, and I just want you around me every day. And she's like, I understand that. I really do, Adriel, but this is about my education. And if I'm going to get into good colleges, then I need to make sure that I'm getting the best education possible. And this is what my parents think is best. And he's like, okay, I understand. So she is getting an education, but she's being homeschooled. And so that is why he's not seeing her at school any longer. And she's like, how is school going for you? And he's like, it's going really well. Like, I'm getting great grades. I've been meeting new people. And she's like, oh, and how's that going? And he's like, it's going good. And she's like, why are you being evasive? And he's like, I'm not being evasive. And she's like, He's like, no, really, I'm not. And she's like, well, as long as you and me are good, then I guess it doesn't matter. I just want to make sure that we're good. And he's like, we're great, honey. And she's like, okay. And he's like, no, really. So I think he's realizing that even though he has a little bit of a crush on Marielle, the feelings that he has for Evie are extremely strong, and they are serious. And yes, he has a little bit of a crush on Marielle, but they're nothing compared to what he feels for Evie. And they just are fleeting, the feelings he has for Marielle, whereas the feelings that he has for Evie are feelings that are lasting, and they are feelings that go down to his core. Like, when he's not around her, he misses her, and he didn't realize how much and how strongly he really felt for her until she's come by and he's seen her. And like, when she's not around, he worries about her, and you know, he actually cares about her well-being, and it's a different feeling. And so he is realizing that even though he does have a little bit of a crush on Marielle, he doesn't necessarily feel like he really wants to pursue that. What he really wants is to be with Evie. And so, as you can see, he is going to go ahead and he's going to tell Evie, like, I just really want to be with you. And they are going to go upstairs and they are going to have themselves, I think, a little bit of alone time. I think that he is going to tell her, like, look, I really feel like you and I have something special, and I just want us to be able to bond, and I want us to be able to share something together intimately. And he's gonna say, you know, I only want to be with you, and you're the one for me. And he's like, I want you to be my first, you know, I want to be with you, and I want to spend my life with you. And she's like, well, I feel the same. And so they've decided that they're gonna go upstairs and they're going to share an intimate moment together, and they are going to go and make a move together. I think it said they were just going to, I don't remember what the option is for teenagers, but it's not like woohoo. It's like called something else. So they're going to go ahead and they're going to do that. And so they are making out or making a move or whatever it's called for the teenage option. And they are feeling utterly enamored with each other. He's feeling really confident. He is feeling like he is obviously getting so much closer to Evie. Tessia is selling all her mom's paintings, which we love, but she's feeling really dazed right now. She has the insane trait, and so she gets dazed really easily. But I'm just going to have Tessia go ahead and do maybe a little bit of practicing on the violin. I think maybe it would be nice if she could pick up a little bit of skills here. But Adriel is, you know, feeling really flirty. He's feeling really confident. He's feeling like he is growing so much closer to Evie. Evie, you're going to have to get out of their bed. Like, that's his parents' bed. You can't stay there. And he just wants so much to spend his life with her. And he does want to get engaged with her. But unfortunately, you know, he doesn't want to scare her off. He knows that they're only teenagers, and you know, Evie does have a lot of plans for her life. She wants to go to college. She wants to make something of herself. But also, like, he wants her in his life. He wants to marry her. He wants to spend his life with her. And he's thinking, you know, I want to marry this girl. I want to have babies with this girl. And even though she wants to go to college and she wants to make something of herself, like, I want to be able to support those dreams too. But I have dreams of marrying her and having kids with her. And so he's just got his head full of all of these things, and he doesn't know how to kind of share those thoughts with her just quite yet. But that's kind of where his head is currently. Look at him just grab her up and kiss her. We love that. But he is thinking to himself, when I get the chance, I want to tell her how I feel, and I want her to know, like, how serious I am about her. So it is the next morning. It is, or maybe like really, really late. But he's talking to his mother, and he's telling her about how he feels about Evie. He's needing some parental advice, and he typically talks to his mom about things like this because they are really, really close. And he's like, Mom, I don't know what to do. Like, I want to be with Evie. I want to marry her. Like, she's the person that I think I want to spend my life with. And she's like, really? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, well, you know, you're so young still. Are you sure that's what you want? And he's like, Mom, I'm really not that young. Like, I'm getting older. Like, I'm not still a baby anymore. And she's like, I get that. And he's like, and Evie's the one. Like, she's the one. And she's like, okay. And he's like, I just don't know how to tell her. And she's like, well, you just have to be honest with the girl. She's like, but you know, she wants to go to school and she wants all these things. And he's like, and I want to be able to give her those things. But I also see a future with her in me marrying her and me having kids with her and moving on our legacy with her. And Haley's like, I think that's amazing. I really do, Adriel. Like, I really do. And I really like Evie. And he's like, you do? And she's like, of course I do. And he's like, Mom, that's fantastic. And she's like, I think you guys will be amazing together. If Evie's on board, then I think that will be great. And he's like, well, I really hope that she is on board because, you know, this is my dream and I really want to share my life with her. So he's so glad that his mom is supportive. Obviously, his mom has told him that he just needs to be upfront with Evie and he needs to tell her how he's feeling and what he's thinking and let Evie come to the decision of what it is that she wants and let Evie make the determining factor on what it is that she wants to do. So hopefully he'll be able to see Evie again soon and he'll be able to tell her what it is he's feeling and thinking. And speaking of Evie, it looks like she's come round. So he's going to go ahead and he's going to tell Evie how he feels. And he's like, Evie, I just want to let you know that I really am serious about you. And I am in love with you. And I want to spend my life with you. And I see like marriage and kids in our future. And she's like, really? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, and he kind of walks off and he's like, I'd given her a minute to think about that. And she's like, okay, there's that, you know, and he's just given her a little bit of time to just process what he said. And he's like, I just want you to know I'm supportive of your school and all of that. I really am. But you are my everything. And like, I will support you through school and I will be there to support you through anything that you want in life. But you are the person that I want to spend my life with. And she's like, okay. And it looks like they have a dynamic that is wholesome. Okay, that is super sweet. Yes, they can be wholesome. That is super sweet. And what are you doing? Evie has just decided to pop the question to him. I guess she's thought about it and she's like, I want to be engaged to you. And he said yes. Okay, that was an autonomous engagement there. We love that. So I guess she thought about what he said and she was like, I love you and I feel the same and let's get engaged. And he was like, really? And she was like, yeah. And he's like, of course I'll be your fiance. So these two have just gotten engaged. He is feeling super over the moon. That is everything he ever wanted, obviously, because he did want to get engaged to her. And he is feeling like he is having all of his dreams come into place. And he is like, this is amazing. My world is, you know, just like synchronizing perfectly. And he is feeling over the moon. But guys, I'm going to go ahead and leave this episode here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you are notified when new episodes go live on the channel. And I will see you guys in our next episode of our Legacy Challenge, where we will see what unfolds with Adriel and Evie. And until next time, I'm going to go ahead and fly for now. Bye, Ravens.